Hey there YouTube, Lero, Skeeter Airsoft. Today I'm going to do just a quick disassembly and reassembly of one of my newly acquired JLS FN2000. It's a pretty cool gun. I like the bullpup design. It's one of the few bullpup designs I actually like. But let's get to it. Obviously, first looks, it's been custom painted. I don't know who custom painted it. I just got it in a trade from a guy from Orlando, and it's a pretty solid gun, and I'm pretty much in love with it already, even though a couple weeks ago I said I hate bullpup designs. And I've seen a couple videos on YouTube how to disassemble it, but I've seen other people do it weird, and I don't like the way they do it. So here's what you got to do. First off, you need three things to do this. You need a very small Phillips head screwdriver, very small. Next is a much larger, longer Phillips head screwdriver and a nice big magnet. Alright? Easy as that. I'll tell you what the magnet's for later. First thing you want to do is take out the magazine. If there's not a magazine in it, you're ahead of the game. Alright? Make sure there's no BBs in it. I knew there were. Next, go ahead and take off the little rubber butt pad. It comes off really easily, and you've got this little button on the side of the gun. Push it in until it clicks. You don't need to pull it. You don't need to push it all the way out, just until it clicks, and then pull the upper receiver, and the entire outer barrel, inner barrel, hop up, and upper receiver will come with it. And it's one of those two-piece hop ups, so make sure you keep track of both pieces. So just set that aside so it doesn't get in the way. Let's go ahead and flip it over so it's on its right side. You're looking at its left side. This is where your little Phillips will come into place. You could also use a punch for this, but there's two little pins that hold in the hop-up cover, and you want to make sure you keep the pins, and that's where the hop-up goes, so keep track of that. And also for the hand guard, there's a small pin there, and it's a little bit harder to get out, so you need to make sure it's stable and basically push it out. You don't have to push it out until it comes out, just until it clears, and just pull straight out. So both pins are out. Proceed to unscrewing the 8 Phillips head screws on just one side. You'll notice that the screws come on both sides, but you only need to do it on one. And this is where the magnet comes in handy, alright? Go ahead and clear off some workspace. You don't want to lose anything. And there are a lot of little parts, a lot of little screws, a lot of hardware. So, there's short screws and there's long screws. You got 4 short screws and the rest are long. Doesn't really matter, but let's just start from the back. So now all the screws are out, and like I said, you don't need to take out these. They're fine. Just keep them in. You don't want to lose any parts. More parts, it's just a hassle. Alright? This again is where your little screwdriver comes into play. You're going to want to basically start pulling it up evenly, front to back, side to side, and basically pull the whole side off as one. And once you do, just pull it right off, and you're good to go. It has your little mag release and all that good stuff, and your selector switch and the little pin thing, so just set that aside. Also, you'll notice on your gun you have this little slit thing. Don't know what it's for. I'm pretty sure it's for a sling, but it's really hard to attach one. So if you have a good sturdy key ring lying around, once you take this apart, just put it through that, and it will be strong enough to hold on to whatever sling you want. So that's a pretty easy fix for that. So just go ahead and set this aside. Now you've got the guts. All right, you've got your mag release with the spring. You've got your little tiny safety clicker with a spring that you don't want to lose. It fits right into the safety, so make sure you don't lose that. You've got your plastic trigger with your spring, another part you don't want to lose, and your little safety plastic. So you've got those three components out, and then you've got your second half of the hop up. Put that aside. So now go. Oh, you should have already done this. Go ahead and disconnect your battery. We don't want any lipos exploding. I'm actually not sure what kind of C rating I use. I just know it's an 11.1 1900 milliamp hour lipo with a Dean's. Always use Dean's, so much better. Before I forget, the only mods I've done to this gun really internally are a new motor, because the old one pooped out on me. It's just a Echo 1 whatever that comes in all the Echo 1 guns, the battery, and the piston, and the spring. I did a small mod on that to where now it's shooting like 250. But you want to go ahead and release your piston. You don't want the gearbox to explode on you. So now that's done. Go ahead and disconnect your battery. So that's done. Now this is where your small Phillips comes into play. None of these will come out, so don't worry about them. Don't fidget with them. You've got a small screw on the trigger assembly. Just unscrew that, and a small little long piece comes out with a spring. Make sure you don't lose that spring either. So just slide that off, and now you've got the trigger bar, whatever, that's underneath this part that you have to unscrew two little screws. Go ahead and unscrew that. Make sure it's unscrewed all the way. There you go. And now it's basically, you can just pull the gearbox straight out. So pull that out, set the other half aside. There's no loose parts, so don't worry about it. And go ahead and flip it over so that the core bar, whatever you want to call it, is facing you. There, where it attaches is a small spring. It just helps with the trigger. When you release that, when you try to pull it out, try not to lose that, because it's a tiny spring and you don't want to lose it like I'm going to in let's say 3, 2, 1. Oh, there it went. Well, that's gone. So I'm screwed, but don't worry, later on I find the spring, so don't worry, the carpet didn't swallow it. So assuming that you have all your parts accounted for, go ahead and disconnect the wiring from your motor if it's not soldered on like the crap was. And you've got your 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 screws. You got 3 small ones on the top, and the rest are long. Once that's done, it's time to open her up. And this gearbox is a little bit more difficult than your normal version 2 because it doesn't have the little screw port thing, piston, whatever. So opening it up is a little finicky. It takes a little work. Once you got it open, you're good to go. So the gearbox internals are pretty standard. I guess that's where my seal problem was, so fix that. Spring guide, which is plastic and hollow and, you know, cheap. Set that aside. You've got your gears, normal sector gear, nothing fancy. Go ahead and pull your motor out. It used to be a long motor, but I dremelled it down a little bit to make it a short motor because the other one pooped out. So go figure, a little customizing there. And your sum of all evil, the anti-reversal latch, which is a pain in the ass. And you've got these 2 little springs that you need to go ahead and get out. So pull those out and basically take everything out like so, and everything's done. So now it's time to put it back together in the second part.